Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more fighting. Now, March 4th is a cracking day if you're a fight fan. Tyron Woodley is rematching Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. The first fight was electric. Definitely, some people even thought it stole the UFC 205 card. And you also have in boxing, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman on the East Coast. The Wonderboy Woodley fight is in Vegas. And then overseas in the UK, you have David Haye and Tony Bellew for some heavyweight boxing. But before we get to that great day of boxing and fighting, I want to address these comments made by Tyron Woodley. And he did an interview last week, and he was talking to ESPN Sports Center, and he said, let's put the cards on the table. Real is real. If I was a different complexion, I think people and fans would treat me in a different way. So he spoke his mind. He also says, who's the best pound for pound fighter in the world right now? Demetrius Johnson. Why is he not making the most money? The second John Jones slips on a banana peel, granted he's his own worst enemy, and they can't wait to throw him under the bus, right? So that's what kind of started everything. Then Tyron Woodley later did an interview with the MMA Hour, and this is what he had to say. It's not about black and white. It's about pointing out things that are not right, that are unjust, things that are not equal. Nobody should be treated any type of way because of their color, their race, their gender, their socio-economic status. We're all human, right? And for some reason, him saying those statements has created an uproar, and people are mad at him for saying those things and what he said on ESPN. So leave it to Boxingego. You guys know, new media. I'm going to break it down. And I absolutely agree with him. Race does play a part in all of combat sports and in sports in general, right? Now, the reason I'm going to talk about combat sports, because it's mano y mano, man versus man, woman versus woman. It's really just two people in that ring or two people in that cage, in that octagon. You can have a team, a nutritionist, strength and conditioning, a Muay Thai coach, but that's all out the window when they close that cage and it's just you two in there. So that's when you start to see it. Other sports like the NBA, it's a team. You're going to hate the whole team if they're black or if they're this nationality or this, you know what I'm saying? So the reason I'm talking about fighting sports is because that's when you get to see the true racism come out. And I know because I have a YouTube channel that's successful, and you see it in the comment section. You say something that people don't like, and the funny thing is this: people, when the topic of race comes up, all of a sudden people, oh no, what are you talking about? It can't be that. Like, people want to act like racism doesn't exist. Oscar De La Hoya said last year that no, Floyd Mayweather's tripping. There's no racism in boxing. But Troy King, I interviewed him, and he brought up a damn good point. And he says, if racism exists in the regular world, why would it not exist in boxing or in MMA? So I don't have a problem with what Tyron Woodley is saying. Now, this is the thing. Some people say, oh, it's just you're protecting black fighters. There's nothing to protect. But just like Tyron Woodley is saying, if you see things that are so flagrant and so uneven that you have to address it, then it is what it is. And people always want to get scared when the topic of race comes up. Yet in this society, they're quick to call someone homophobic. You know what I mean? The LGBT or whatever it's called. They're quick to call people racist, but when you bring up race, like you're looking into salvaging a race or sticking up for a race's rights, like Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. It's like, oh, what are you doing, Kaepernick? You're not even the starting quarterback. And they're just so appalled and outraged. I don't see how. And sometimes this is how racism works. It's very tricky. And whoever set up like the racism, it's very clever, because if you bring things up and actually put your foot down and address these topics, they say, oh, you're just pulling the race card. You're just playing the race card, man. And a lot of people that say that type of stuff, they've never experienced racism. So you don't know. You can't say, oh, you're just pulling the race card when you've never been through certain things where you've seen and stared racism in the eyes, whether be it a I've dealt with racist cops. Not like, oh, a cop gave me a ticket and I'm mad. I'm talking about pure racism, and there's no other justification for that behavior. And I don't even have to go into the details, but come out to San Francisco and be in a car full of nothing but black people late at night and see how you are treated with some of SFPD. Now, my brother's a cop, so I don't have, it's not about all cops are like that. I'm just telling you, if you've never experienced it, then you don't know what you're talking about, because of course you're not going to understand it because you've never been there. Nobody's ever flagged you down, profiled you, done anything like that above and beyond, right? And again, the way it's set up is pretty clever because people mention it, like Colin Kaepernick. He didn't say that he's kneeling because he hates police or anything like that. He didn't say everybody should pick up rocks and throw them at cops. He said there's police brutality. There needs to be more training. There needs to be more accountability. Therefore, I'm taking a stand and I don't want to participate because, and then this is another thing that racist people do a lot of times, is they derail and try to switch the subject and talk about genocide. Like, oh, there's genocide. Why do you care? So basically, like, let's say Native Americans, we'll use Native Americans. Let's say two Native American tribes go to war with each other. They're battling over spices or whatever, right? Bartered goods. And they go to war, and some Native Americans kill another tribe and people from within that other tribe. Does that mean they want Christopher Columbus to rape and pillage their village and kill their people because other people of their same ethnicity did it? You know what I'm saying? Like, so genocide has nothing to do with it. Genocide is not right. Black on black crime, Native American, Native, white on white, Mexican, that has nothing to do with killing in general is not a good thing, right? But you can't use that as a catalyst for police brutality. If people are raising their hands and saying, hey, Black lives matter, we understand all lives matter, but Black lives matter because there's a lot of black and brown skinned people who are being targeted and they're senselessly being killed, and there could have been another resolution. People didn't have to actually lose their life. Oscar Grant at the BART, he got shot. Oh, I thought it was my taser. His life is gone. It's done. You've seen Michael B. Jordan in the movie, right? And I'm from the Bay, Oakland. That's why they had these riots and protests and stuff like that, because people have seen it on tape, seen people getting killed, right? So it's crazy to me that when people bring up, like Tyron Woodley or whoever, bring up the subject of race, sometimes they in turn get targeted and people point the finger at them. And this is how clever racists are. They say, oh, you're the racist for speaking up, right? Like if I was at a grocery store and then some hooligan hit this old lady over the head with an object, you know what I mean, a blunt object, and then I'm like, hey, what the fuck you doing? And then I attack the guy or whatever, you know what I mean? Or I point it out, or someone's stealing or something, I point it out. Am I the shoplifter because I pointed it out? You see how stupid that sounds? You shoplifting. So if you go into a store and then somebody's stealing from a mom and pop store, and then you're like, hey, get that person, they're stealing. Are they gonna point the finger and say, hey, you're the shoplifter because you brought it up? You know what I'm saying? This is not, you remember, this reminds me when you're a kid and somebody farts and, hey, you smelt it, you dealt it. Like, it doesn't work like that. Because you speak on things that people don't want to speak because they're touchy subjects in this pitiful society, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you're racist in turn because you're actually for equality, right? And it doesn't mean another thing, oh, you're just bitching. You're just bitching. Again, some of you guys may never understand it if you're not a minority. You might never have certain experiences in life. But what Tyron Woodley says, I'm glad he's speaking up. And I think more and more people, you'll start to see more and more people get bold and speak up because we know the game, right? And it is hilarious to me how racism operates and how people try to criticize you or condemn you for merely bringing it up. Here's an example. Let's say you live in a certain neighborhood, nice neighborhood, and there's a suspected meth lab. They're always up late and you hear arguments and you hear like people getting stomped out and jumped, and you walk by and see in the window, peer in the window, and it looks like they're doing drugs and smoking meth in the garage and stuff like that. And you being an upstanding citizen, you call the cops. You're like, hey, I got kids. I'm trying to sleep. I got to get up for work. And then you call the cops. The cops come. Boom. Everything you suspected was accurate. It is a meth lab. They're criminals. They have warrants, etc. That's like what racist people do in blaming the person who's pointing it out. That's like pointing out and blaming the person who called the cops on the meth lab, right? Oh, what'd you do? Why'd you call the cop? The only reason you should have a problem with it is if you're part of it, if you're part of that faction, if you're part of, or you support whatever they were doing, the drugs, the dirt, and stuff like that. And that's the code you live by. But if you're a family member or a fellow neighbor, you're not going to be mad. You're going to be happy that they got this killer, this child molester, this meth lab out of your neighborhood, right? So by merely bringing up race, it gets people on their defense, you know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't be like that. For bringing awareness to it, that doesn't make you the culprit. And in the words of my favorite rapper, the late great Tupac Shakur, everybody against me. Why? Why me? I've not brought violence to you. I've not brought thug life to America. I didn't create thug life. I diagnosed it. Same thing with racism. Would you, if somebody brought up breast cancer awareness and they're doing a marathon, a 4K run, they didn't create breast cancer, right? They didn't create it and inflict it and give women, just go around sticking a needle in women, giving them cancer. They didn't inject cancer into somebody. They diagnosed it like a doctor. That, hey, I'm sorry to say, unfortunately, you have breast cancer. They're bringing awareness to breast cancer, what it is, ways to fight it, checkups that you can get. You know what I mean? Same thing with racism. If you talk about racism in sports or combat, you didn't create the racism. You just diagnosed it. You point the finger and brought awareness to it. You can say whatever you want. You could thumb down the video. The likes and dislikes will be disabled on this anyway, but you could do it. It doesn't affect my paycheck. So you guys do whatever you want. But the bottom line is you see clear-cut double standards in fighting sports in general with minorities. And that's just the way it is. Conor McGregor, he could talk all the trash where he goes above and beyond. I never really hear people say he's racist. You know what I mean? Broner talks trash and says, I beat the fuck out of a Mexican, even though he didn't say anything to shame an entire race of Mexican people. Maybe you could say, oh, that was tasteless, or why leave yourself on the chopping block for scrutiny. But I don't really hear anything he said that was racist in that, right? And people threw the book at him. Oh, this is ridiculous. Angel Garcia, he's talking street slang or saying this and that. They say he's racist. But Conor McGregor, he called Nate Diaz a Mexican cholo. So, I mean, what's the big difference from what Broner said? Yet, people love Conor McGregor. I enjoy it. See, that's the thing. I give things a fair shake. I don't care when Floyd Mayweather trash talks. I don't care when Conor McGregor trash talks. Tony Bellew, David Haye. I don't care who's trash. This shit's funny to me because that's how I am and that's how I raised, and I have a warped sense of humor. But I don't care across the board who's trash talking. I think it's good that little WWE build up and stuff like Stone Cold and the trash. What? You know what I mean? I like all of that trash talk. So I think it's cool. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a bit over the top depending on the person, but you see these double standards in fighting sports, and now you're starting to see more fighters emerge and put their foot down. And I mean, we've seen it. You guys can play dumb, right? Like Tyron Woodley, he was at the UFC 205. It's a table full. That was a packed, stacked card, right, in New York. And you see a table of people. He's a new champion. And he didn't rob someone to become a champion, Woodley. He has smoke, and he destroyed Robbie Lawler, who is, you see the fight with Condit. He's clearly a dog, and he's clearly a warrior. Tyron Woodley, people didn't give him a shot because they knew the pedigree of Robbie. And he went out there and melted him and destroyed him in that octagon and took the champion's belt. There's no controversy. There's no nothing. It is what it is. He has a lot of power and he demolished Robbie Lawler, right? So why are people booing? I understand, okay, you pick sides, you like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's karate, so you're picking him to win. But why are you booing the champion? Like, what did he do? You know what I'm saying? And the other thing that people do when it comes to racism in sports is they always look at like comment sections as if they're not a microcosm of what actually goes on. Like, they try to relegate comments in comment section as stupid YouTube users or stupid people on Instagram. Yeah, they are stupid because racism really, it's ignorant. You know what I'm saying? But you can't relegate it to just a different, like a comment section, because if somebody has an anonymous YouTube user account and they're like nigger and Jews and spics and saying all these racial terms, right? And talking about different people and using these racial slurs, right? You can't relegate that to just a comment section, because this is actually a human being. This is not a bot. This is not a robot who's like programming, has a mind of his own. This is not Will Smith and iRobot. Oh man, oh, this is not a movie. This is not like a computer who's just typing comments. This is an actual person. So the reason you can't relegate it to a comment section is because this person who thought it would be funny, who thought that I want to put this or feels this in his heart or whatever the reason is, this person actually exists. I don't put comments like that. I never go in the comment like, oh, blacks, Jews, Mexicans. Like, I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You guys can check all of my activity. I'm sure YouTube has a way for you to see when comments are left and stuff. I'm not doing that, but there are people that are doing that. So clearly those people exist. So if people are dumb enough to do stuff like that, then why wouldn't they be dumb enough to do it in real life, or have, like, maybe not 100%, maybe some people doing it like prank calling and like a practical joke. But you think out of all those people, 100% of them are doing it as a joke, and none of them have those stereotypes and biases and prejudices really in their heart, really ingrained in their soul or their upbringing? You know what I'm saying? It has to come from somewhere, and that's how racism is taught. So a lot of people, it's how they were raised, or their parents, or whoever they were around, and then they learned and picked up stuff like that. So I'm glad Tyron Woodley spoke up. I'm looking forward to the Wonder Boy Thompson fight. I think it's a good fight, but I don't see what this huge big deal is about what he said. That's how he feels, and it could definitely be substantiated in many ways. Like, you never seen John Jones. He was the best fighter. Obviously, he has the demons, like Tyron Woodley said. He has his own demons outside of the cage that he definitely needs to work out. But he's a brilliant fighter, very skilled fighter. And he never got the praise that a lot of the guys who are more hype job got. Like Paige Van Zandt. Okay, she's a pretty face. She looks cute. And she just got put to sleep in her last fight by the Karate Hottie, right? You look at Sage Northcutt. He got choked out, and then he got choked out again. And he got, you know what I mean? Like, he has no defense for it. Mickey Gall just put, like, you know what I mean, was about to put him to sleep. So he panicked and tapped out. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? These other people, like Holly Holm, at least she showed heart and just, she let Miesha Tate sleep her in a fight she was winning just so she didn't tap. But Sage Northcutt, Paige Van Zandt, Conor McGregor kind of does what he wants, doesn't have to defend his title, and then they let him hold on to the title without defending it against Jose Aldo. You know what I mean? Another minority. And now he's the set history. Conor McGregor, the 2-division simultaneous champion in 2 different weight divisions. So, you know what I mean? The rules are definitely different for certain people. And it is what it is. They put some promotion behind certain guys. And then you see other top level fighters. And you're like, damn, you're not even going to do nothing? Like Amanda Nunes. She's another person. I mean, she destroyed Ronda Rousey and destroyed Miesha Tate. And I believe she had a 3rd fight in 2016. So that's 2 impressive girls that she demolished. Yet, where's the UFC at when it comes to promoting her? She should be one of the biggest things in the UFC right now, especially for women's. Okay, Ronda, she started this and got women's the women's division or women combat popping. Cool. Now she has to rebuild her career, retire, do some more movies, or decide what she's gonna do and paint her house because somebody vandalized it. And I have not heard one word really from the UFC regarding Amanda Nunes, her next fight or anything, right? So you'll notice patterns like that, you know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. You guys can skirt around the issues and act like, oh, you don't see the same things that I'm outlining in this particular video. Like I said, you bring this stuff up and now they turn the sights on you. You're the racist now because you brought it up. You should have never said anything. But the thing is, on my channel, I'm not going to keep quiet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be silenced. by any means necessary. So I'm going to speak my mind. It's a free country. This is my thought. And I do see it. Especially in the UFC, I do see it. And again, if people are ignorant enough to leave the N-word comments and this and that, then why do you think Tyron Woodley doesn't have a basis when you can go to his YouTube videos? I've seen it. And they'll be like, Wonder Boy is going to destroy this Nick. You know what I mean? N-I-G-G-E-R. So if obviously somebody feels like that because they're leaving that. Why can't you just say Wonder Boy is going to destroy Tyron Woodley? And then people flip when he says something like this to ESPN or MMA Hour as if it has no basis. You know what I mean? He probably reads the comment section and sees that. Or people go to his social media and probably say this stuff. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But it is a fact. And it is something that I wanted to address on my channel. And I'm glad that more fighters are speaking up and actually talking about this stuff. This is the real world. Like this is not Chutes and Ladders Candyland where we have to ignore what we see. You know what I mean? It's like the Sixth Sense. I see dead people. Nobody believed the boy, and he was 100% true. Everything. I see dead people. He wasn't lying. But then people try to act like they don't hear what he's saying or understand, or he's just sleepy and he has a stomach ache, so he's just making something up. He's having a bad dream. But in reality, he was right. He was seeing dead people. So you guys can skirt around the issue and act like racism doesn't exist in combat sports, but I've seen it, period. So just a quick recap, I'm going to show you some things to look out for to spot when people are trying to silence the people who are fighting for equality. One, they'll in turn call you racist. If you bring up race in general, or you're trying to fight for equality, Black Lives Matter, or protest, or I'm going to take a knee, then you become the racist. They say, you know what, you're racist because you brought it up, right? That's one trick. Another trick is, oh, you're just bitching. Oh, you're just crying. This doesn't exist. And then the play dumb aspect. Oh, let me just play dumb as if this doesn't exist. Even though you're giving me examples, let me just act like I didn't hear any of that. And you're just playing the race card. That's not the real. It's not because he's black. It's not because he's Mexican. It's not because he's a minority. You're stupid. People just hate him. Yet you can find parallels like Broner, Floyd Mayweather, they trash talk, Conor McGregor trash talks, and it's great. You know what I mean? You see Golden Boy in boxing, they're having a correspondence with an editor for their magazine that they bought, Ring, and he's using the N-word. But you know what? None of these examples matter. You're just pulling the race card. And finally, here's the last tactic that I really seen that I want to talk about. And it's if you root for your own race and you are of that minority that they want to oppress, they'll make it sound like it's a bad thing. If you like Floyd Mayweather and you're black, oh, you're a bitch. Oh, you're sucking Floyd's dick. You're a dick rider. Oh, why you always on Andre Ward and Terrence Crawford? Why do you like Tyron Woodley? So I can't like fighters, whoever I want to like, you know what I mean? And I'm mixed, but I can't like Tyron Woodley because he's a knockout artist or this fighter or that fighter, right? It's always a bad thing. But if I like Triple G, if I like Wonder Boy, you know what I'm saying? That's okay. If I like Conor McGregor, like I do, like I fuck with Conor McGregor, pause. But if I like them, that's not a problem at all. But if you like John Jones and Anderson Silva and darker complected people, and you are of that complexion, or you fit into that, you fill in the bubble of that ethnicity, you know what I mean? If you're doing a Scantron test, then they make it sound like it's a bad thing. Oh, you're just dick riding John Jones. Why aren't you picking Chael Sonnen or whoever? You know what I mean? Why do I have to pick who you want me to pick? I'm gonna pick who I think is gonna win. And it's nobody's fault that sometimes, like, let's be real, when it comes to sports, there are a lot of gifted African Americans. Am I saying the only talented people are African Americans? Absolutely not. But there are a lot of talented. Look at basketball. Name one basketball team that you love that's popular, that you don't know one star player that would make the dream team that's black, right? There's a lot of gifted athletes from around the world, but there's a lot that are African American. So if someone else is black and they want to big up or follow their career, it's not a problem, right? If you're Irish, then liking Conor McGregor shouldn't be a problem. Why would you not like somebody from your own region? But again, let the racists tell it. They want you to believe it's a bad thing. What do you mean you like John Jones? Why you like Woodley? Come on, man. I rest my case. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, Ego signing. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.